देख लेंगे।
छह लोग। प्रतीक्षा मैम। Yes, good morning all. So just
Good morning.
welcome the invited speaker for this session, Dr. Seema Garg.
Thank you, sir.
From University. Ma'am is working on the water treatment, on the topic water treatment. And so shall we start the lecture, ma'am?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay, ma'am. So can you share your screen?
I'll just see. I can share screen.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, it's visible. It's visible. But
Yeah,
you need
thank
to
you
do
so much.
full screen, not in full screen.
I'll do. Wait a minute. Sir, can you see my screen, full screen that is? Hello, sir, can you hear me? Sir, I want to know if you can hear me or not, or you can see my screen.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. So first of all, I'm thankful to all of you. So you have given me this chance so I can say something about my research and I can deliver my talk in front of you all. So I work in the field of water treatment, and I have chosen the catalytic technique for treating the wastewater because that is green technique. So the thing is, I'm working on photocatalysis and my lecture will be towards that only. I'm Dr. Seema Garg, Head Student Affairs, Amity Institute of Applied Sciences, Amity University, Noida, and simultaneously I am Associate Professor in Chemistry Department working as. So the thing is, you all know the pollution is a major concern of our country, and the industries, because of the development of the country, the things are like in the way the industries are developed, and because of that sometimes the industry directly dump the water into the mainstream, then water is getting polluted day by day, and it's actually the serious issue because it is causing so much harmful effect on the not only human body but animals and the living beings which are in the water. So this is the serious concern, and we have to take the material which can solve the problem. So for that there are many techniques which can solve the problem, but the thing is that they cause secondary pollution as well. So the photocatalysis, I'm not going in detail for those techniques, but I'm going here taking only photocatalysis technique. The photocatalysis technique is green technique because it is having so many advantages, and it works in the presence of only light. So light work as a photocatalyst, work as a catalyst in presence of light, and that degrade the waste material, and when the side products are generated, they are also they are not harmful or very less harmful. So photocatalysis is substance which can modify the rate of reaction by using only the light. So when light is irradiated on the material, if it depends on the energy, how much energy the material needs, so the irradiation of photocatalysis with light energy greater than the band gap of the material, and it is required, and because of that electron and holes are generated, which actually leads photocatalytic reactions. So the things are, how can you say what are the advantages of the photocatalysis and why do we use it? So as I told you that it is a very efficient technique, and complete mineralization of almost all type of toxic contaminants can be done by this material and by this process in wastewater. If any byproducts are formed, they are generally environmentally friendly. Only available oxygen is required for the process, and the photocatalyst is economic, non-hazardous, stable material, and inert, and can be used many times. So the things are in the solar light, UV and visible light is there. So depends on the band gap of the material. The material uses radiations. So if the band gap is more than 3.2 electron volt volt, 3 electron volt generally material is UV active material. So the UV light material which uses UV light is generally used as TiO2, zinc oxide. The TiO2 is generally used because this is safe material, stable material, and the efficient material. But the thing is, only it absorbs 4% UV light which is present in the solar energy. So the photocatalytic material with low prices comparable, if you see by the adsorption technique, and it is because in the adsorption the waste material gets adsorbed and on the, if suppose membranes are used or any material is used which adsorb, and after finally it is not degrading the material, degrading the waste material, but it actually the changes the form only. So it's not the solution. But if we see the photocatalytic methods, photocatalysis process, it's actually the efficient method. And you can see the mechanism: the light is irradiated on the material, then electrons and holes are separated. So the issue of the photocatalytic material is when the electron holes are not separated properly, then the mechanism, means like the reaction will not take place, because holes react with water and converting that to the OH free radical, and then electrons are reacting with the oxygen, forming superoxide ion free radical and making again OH free radical. Then finally it degrades the pollutants. So this is the mechanism. Here the concern is to solve the problem of recombination as well. And if the material can work in the presence of visible light, that is also a main concern, because more than 44% visible radiations are there in solar energy. And if we can see the material which is having lower band gap, and the problem of electron and hole recombination can be solved, that is the next step towards the towards making the photocatalytic material better. So the work is going on in this direction in my lab, and students are working and filed many patents and publications, and trying to solve the issue of the water problem by designing prototype for not only for lab but for industry level. So the thing is, first of all, you can see the TiO2, it also works in by the same way, because it is the photocatalyst. But the thing is, it can absorb only UV radiation because the band gap 3.2 electron volt. And so now the advanced features, what are the advanced feature of efficient photocatalyst? Should have high porosity, larger specific surface area, narrower band gap. But with the narrower band gap, electron recombination problem should not be there, because if the band gap is lower, then this problem can exist. And smaller size is there, then the more surface area is available, it will work more. The enhanced separation of photogenerated electron hole pairs. So the work we are working here in the direction of visible active photocatalytic material for treating wastewater. The materials which are helping in this directions are bismuth based materials. There are many materials. So here I'm taking bismuth oxyhalides. So bismuth oxyhalides are material like bismuth. It is actually, when we see the structure of bismuth oxyhalides, they are bismuth oxide and oxide ions are interleaved by double slabs of halogen atom. The blue ones are halogen atoms. And then bismuth oxide ions are interleaved by double slabs of halogen atom. They are making dipoles and enhancing the separation of electron hole pairs. The first thing is the bismuth oxyhalide structure is of that type which solves the problem, which can be in the direction of better photocatalysts. So we will see then the results, what happens. So by many methods, bismuth oxyhalides were prepared: solvothermal, hydrothermal, microwave assisted, and direct precipitation method. But here I have chosen the method, green method of synthesizing bismuth oxyhalides. So the bismuth oxyhalides, which is already like reported by different methods, working in the better direction, like 46% solar light is used by the material. And if it can be prepared by the method which is green, means like the chemicals can be reduced, and by reducing chemicals, it is we can enhance the activity, so that nothing can be better than that. So first of all, I'll take the bismuth oxychlorides. So in the bismuth oxychlorides, that was prepared by different leaf extract like tulsi, ashoka, neem, and then by the simple hydrolysis method as well, it was prepared. The conditions were same in all the material by when we prepared by four methods. But the method was hydrolysis, but the different leaf extract we used, and then we found that SAM image of BiOCl, which was prepared by only hydrolysis method without adding any leaf extract in that, without using. And B method and C and D are the SAM images of different BiOCl, which was prepared by different neem leaf extract, Tulsi Ashoka. And then E and F are images of TEM images. You can see E images of the BiOCl, which was prepared by hydrolysis method, and F is the green, means Tulsi Neem Ashoka. So you can see the size. Here you can see the big plates of hydrolysis, but when we modified the method, then the plates were now converted to the smaller one. So the thing is, if more surface area is available and if we can reduce the electron hole recombination, then the obviously photocatalytic activity will be better. So to see the results, we move ahead for different characterization and different photocatalysis process. And by the TEM, HR10, we found the lattice, the fringes, and they are showing this is BiOCl. So by this JCPDS card, means like XRD were here, the XRD characterization took place, and then you can see in the case of the green one, these peaks were broader. So this shows the nano plates. And by the XRD, it also proved that it is nano by SAM, by TEM, and when we checked its band gap, it was smaller than the hydrolysis method BiOCl. So this is the BiOCl chemical one, then it was going towards larger wavelength. So then this is the again XRD, this is FTIR, which shows the neem leaf extract, keto group, hydroxyl group, other groups are present according to the neem leaf extract or leaf extract, which is having the organic groups. So it showed, and then by XPS, it was proven that these are the bismuth. And then by photocatalytic activity, electrochemical analysis, it was proven that the separation of electron hole more in the case of the green one. So it means if we'll do the photocatalytic activity, it will be enhanced. So we will see that. So by the PL, by the EIOS Nyquist plot, we saw the smaller circle. So in all directions, it proved that it is having good photocatalytic, it should have good photocatalytic activity. And for checking which intermediate is responsible for the activity, for that we used sodium oxalate as whole scavenger, isopropanol for OH free radical scavenger, benzoquinone for superoxide and free radical, because these free radicals and species are generated that time and they are responsible for photocatalytic activity. And so we found that all the species are responsible for the process if we see the degradation of methyl orange. So here you can see the results of photocatalytic activity. So in the first process, this is the blank graph, and then chemical one means like the hydrolysis. C is showing without any green process. So we have represented it by C, means chemical one, and then NTA. So they showed better results than this red one. So degradation was more in case of the green one. So it means that only these leaves are responsible for enhancing the separation of electron hole pair, inhibiting electron hole pair, and then moreover they are enhancing input photocatalytic activity. So here the chemical one, to optimize the dose, we found that 100 mg is the optimized dose in both cases, in any this case and this case. So this N is representing green one, C is the hydrolysis only, and T and A is also showing 100 mg is the optimized limit. Then reaction kinetics showed that this shows the pseudo first order kinetic model. And then HPLC and mass spectra of bisphenol A was degraded by this BiOCl, and it showed that bisphenol A was degraded in 4-hydroxyacetophenone. So it is very, very less harmful if we compare it with the bisphenol A. So these are the results of BiOCl, and mechanism was given that this is the band gap 3.21 electron volt, but when the this was prepared by the green one, the band gap was reduced till 2.91 electron volt. And because of the leaves, it is surface area was enhanced. And moreover, because this shows the enhanced photocatalytic activity because of the separation of electron and hole pairs. So this paper was published in Ecotoxicology and Environmental Safety Journal, Elsevier. So now the thing is, this is the BiOCl, its band gap is 3.2, approximately equal to the TiO2, and it is working well in the, when we prepared the material by the green one. But then we took the BiOBr, its band gap is 2.9 electron volt approximately reported, and if we prepare it with the green one, will it increase the photocatalytic activity or nothing will happen? So to see it, we prepared again this A, which is showing the chemical one, and B, which is showing the green one. You can see the TEM images here. And then by XRD, you can see the green one is having broader peaks, so it shows the high it shows the nanomaterial surface area is higher. And when we saw this BET surface area, by the BET, we found that the surface area was enhanced approximately 6 times, 5 to 6 times. And then the activity was checked. Yes, in the green one, the activity was more. You can see this is the chemical one. Optimized limit was 100 mg, and the activity was more in case of the green one. And then the scavengers, which showed that all species are responsible in both. And then the this kinetic model, and then surface area was enhanced. And then the electrochemical studies were done, photocurrent response, EIS Nyquist plot. So you can see the and this is photoluminescence spectra was taken. So in all cases, it proved that recombination of electron hole pair less in the case of green one. And this recyclability studies were done to see if it can be used only once or many times. So we found that it can be used many times. After using 5 times, SAM images were taken, and then the SAM images were almost same as earlier. So the material was not means like safe and stable, so it can be used many times. And then the phenol was used for the degradation. Phenol was converted to hydroquinone after 600 minutes, because it's not so easy to degrade. But here, after 600 minutes, hydroquinone's less amount of hydroquinone was available by mass and HPLC. It was proved, and this was published in Materials MDPI journal. Now, the thing is BiOI, which is having 1.8 to 1.9 electron volt band gap, it is actually the problem of recombination electron hole pairs. So BiOI is a good material, but the thing is, because of the recombination, it does not produce good results when we compare it with this other halides. But if we prepared it with green one, we found it is giving best result among all bismuth oxyhalides. So because the green method is separating the electron holes, and then it is giving better results. So you can see the peaks are broader here, so it shows the nano, and then these are the bigger. A and C are the hydrolysis method, bigger plates, and here the prepared by the green one showing the nano, and paper was published in RSC Advances. So the other results were like showing that it is giving better activity than BiOIC to G. And if we compare it with the chloride and bromide, it is having higher result, higher degradation. It showed rhodamine B and methyl orange was degraded. So now, the thing is, in a leaf extract, which constituent can be responsible for the process? So the leaf extract and the quercetin, which is available in all leaves, we used that, and different concentration of quercetin solution were prepared. And this is the A method, which is means like BiOF was prepared, because BiOF showed a higher band gap, 3.3, 3.4 approximately band gap electron volt. And when we prepared it by the green one, the band gap was reduced, and it is working in the visible range. So this is the A, which is prepared by the solvothermal method, ethylene glycol, and these B, C, are the methods which means B, which is prepared by the leaves, and C, which is prepared by the this quercetin solution. So in the D, you can see this is the TEM image of A, B, this is the TEM image of E, and B SAM image, E this material stem image, C, and this F is the stem image of C material. So we found that quercetin is almost equally responsible, or approximately equal photocatalytic activity as leaf extract. So here we proved that by these experiments. This is the blank one, then this is the chemical one, which is showed the result. Then the quercetin, when we took the different concentration, we found the 1 molar is the optimized concentration, and this is approximately equal to the plant extract. And then we did the kinetic study, and you can see the this is the chemical one, rate constant 0.007, but in the plant and quercetin the rate constant was almost similar, 0.018 and 0.016. Yes, almost obviously in plant extract was more little bit. So other constituent are also responsible, mainly responsible constituent we found out that the quercetin. So the degradation was seen in the BIOF process. Actually, BIOF is having higher band gap. So it, like if we compare it with other bismuth oxyhalides, it's not giving good results. But we found that yes, main constituent quercetin is working. Simultaneously, we did this benzotriazole degradation, and it was degraded in 3-aminopropanol, which is very, very less harmful. So the paper was published in this Journal of Photochemistry and Photobiology Chemistry. So the finally, bismuth oxyhalide was not only prepared by the only bismuth oxyhalides were prepared here, but here to see the composites, because you know the if we can apply other methods which can enhance the photocatalytic activity, means we can which can prove, which can separate more electron hole pairs, which can give the better results. So for that we took the next step, and then we prepared different composites of bismuth oxyhalides, so bromides and iodides we took here, and in different ratio we prepared the composites: 50-50, 80-20, 60-40, 50-50, 40-60, and 20-80, and we gave the nomenclature accordingly. So A is the chemical one, means hydrolysis method without having any leaf extract. Then the B, C, D, E, and F, they were the images of the different ratios of the BRI. So in all, you can see it is going to the nano one. Then which will be better to see, we did the studies. And then G and H are the images of TEM. So this is the chemical one, and this is the green one, and found that the yes, by HRTEM, these are the BIOBR, BIOI. It means composite, both lattice fringes were present in the composite. So the composite it was confirmed that composite has been formed. Now here the UVDRS studies were done, and the band gap in the case of BR.2 and I.8 were showed it was shown the minimum band gap, because you know I is having the lower band gap. So BR only 20%, 80% I was there. So it is helping to solve the recombination problem and enhancing the activity and lowering the band gap. So this mechanism was given. This is the leaf extract and its constituent, anthocyanin, and all constituents. And then this forms the complex between bismuth ion and leaf extract. Here we showed. And then when the KBr and Ki precursors were added, then formation of BIOBR, BIOA nanoplates, and by self-assembly process, this hierarchical image was formed. So for that, the degradation was shown here, and this is the blank one, no effect of anything. So it is not doing anything. And then when we check the other one, you can see the difference that when 80% I was there is the maximum degradation it showed. So this 1.2 I.8 showed the maximum degradation, and the kinetic study were done, and then the HPLC LCMS showed that amoxicillin this amoxicillin antibiotic we took here, because these are also a major problem in the water, because it makes the bacteria resistant towards that, and it causes so much harm for not only human body, other animal living creatures. And then amoxicillin S oxide and phenol hydroxypyrazine it was converted to. And here by the mass, we proved that yes, these are the constituents which are formed. By electrochemical studies, cyclic voltammetry, and other studies, it was proven that the material is better. So I'm not going in detail. This amoxicillin, you can see the mechanism, and then the Journal of Colloids and Interface Science, this paper was published. Approximately 8.2 impact factor it is. So now finally the thing is, the next problem is the how can we use the material directly in the water, because every time we have to separate it out after completing the study. So the immobilization we thought for that, and then we took carbon block and we took ceramic fiber. So by two methods we immobilized the material in these two substrates. So the first we took ceramic fiber sheet. This was provided by our Hungarian counterpart, Hungary, because the project, I completed this project with the my Hungary partners. So they provided this ceramic fiber sheet. And then on the ceramic fiber, the material was immobilized. So the different bismuth oxyhalides were immobilized on the ceramic fiber sheet. These are the images. So that by the results, you can see this is the SAM image of blank ceramic fiber. This is a chloride ceramic fiber and iodide, bromide. In all, this was the SAM images showed that this material has been immobilized properly. When you see the BET surface area, in the case of BIOI, that was more 19.4. By BET, it was proven, and this EDEX studies showed that all the elements were present in the material. Photocatalytic activity, like when we check the photocatalytic activity with only one immobilized CLB or I ceramic fiber, that was not more. If we took that chloride, bromide, iodide in combination, then the activity was higher if we compare it with the single one. So the thing is, we have to see that how can we stop or how can we separate electron holes as well, enhance the activity. So adsorption was done, then degradation was done. You can see the results. 93.2% ampicillin was degraded in presence of all combinations, and bisphenol A 85.8. These are very difficult to degrade, but in combination they showed the good results. These are the recyclability studies. So almost the same results we found in the cases. Here the SAM images of used material, almost same SAM images we found after using the material. So this paper was published in Ceramics International. So the next paper is related to the carbon block, like immobilization of material on carbon block. This was done by the Industry Active Carbon India Private Limited, Hyderabad. We provided the material to them, and then they immobilized at the time of synthesizing carbon block. And then we checked, we characterized the material. Then we found that the material was immobilized in the carbon block. These are the pores, and carbon block is very porous, and then the material has been immobilized in that. So you can see the blank carbon block, the surface area 368, but when immobilized, that surface area was decreased, so 340. So now the blank carbon block and this BIOI GCB, this is surface area and this is the band gap. So the band gap BIOI G, you can see 1.8 electron volt, but then this immobilized, this shows the 1.63 electron volt. Now, so these are the photocatalytic activity results. This is the blank one. When you see the blank ampicillin, nothing is happening, but carbon block, yes, it is showing the adsorption completely, but not photocatalytic degradation. But when the material was immobilized, it is showing adsorption as well as the degradation. So the 1% BIOI G carbon block, 0.5% different quantity of the material was immobilized, and found that 1% is giving the best result among all. So these are the results. Amoxicillin was converted to amoxicillin S oxide, and ampicillin was converted to penicilloic acid and 2-hydroxy-3-phenylpyrazine. And accordingly, the antibiotic can be degraded by the method, by the HPLC and LCMS. It was proven. And then these are the XPS, and we showed that all the elements were present as in the material it should be. And this photocatalytic degradation mechanism was given, and paper was published in separation and purification technology. So other papers were also published in different journals. We worked on hydrothermal synthesis of carbon nanotube composites with BiOBr, and this is the molybdenum diselenide and bismuth vanadate heterojunctions were formed, and the material was immobilized on Lufa cylindrica, and the experimental studies and DFT studies were done. This paper was published this year only, Environmental Science Narrow, in August 2021, and then RSC advances this paper now published in November 2021. In that also we used the carbon nanotubes with bismuth oxychloride. So composites were formed to see the activity, and this hydrothermal synthesis, quercetin, again we used quercetin for preparing BiOIE, and then silver with silver. So the things are like that. And this review paper, Journal of Industrial Engineering Chemistry this year, it was published, Decent Enhancement in Visible Light Photocatalytic Degradation of Organochlorine Pesticides. A review was written by my student Himanshi, so it was also published. This was the collaborative work with Hungary scientists. They have published this paper. This book has been edited this year, and now it's available in the month of September. I've edited, patents were filed, and this month only this patent was granted of bismuth oxyhalides prepared by the green method and enhanced photocatalytic activity of the composites. So this patent was granted. This is my research group. In that Hungarian people are involved, and the IIT people, Professor Sapra and Professor Ingole, they helped me a lot in my research. So I'm able to do so many things. And this is my certificate of appreciation when I visited Hungary in 2019. They gave me this certificate as a principal investigator of exemplarily collaboration during Indo-Hungary joint program. And I'm pleased to share that I was invited as an expert on Doordarshan Science, DDTV, Doordarshan TV, Vigyan Prasad, to join their show Science This Week, along with Dr. Praveen Ingole, Professor IIT Delhi, on the topic Science Behind Degradation of Recalcitrant Organic Pollutants in Water and Hydrogen Generation from Water Splitting using green materials. So I discussed about the green material, how can they solve the problem of environment, and how can we solve easily by the green methods. So I have international collaborations with many scientists of them, many scientists of there. Thank you so much for patiently listening my work. If anyone is having any questions.
Ma'am, myself, Dr. Pankaj Pathania. Hello.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Ma'am, actually, I am working on the dye molecule to enhance the photocatalytic activity. Can there is possibility of photo bleaching in your work? Dye molecule, there is some photo bleaching is there.
Degradation of pollutants.
Yeah, sure.
So this is the difference in both processes. But if you can think, how can we collaborate, or if we can, like you can utilize anything, or you think we can collaborate in any field, we can do. So I'm happy to collaborate, because I feel alone anyone cannot do anything. If we'll collaborate, we will have more ideas, and we can go ahead and research.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Rajen sir, your voice is not clear.
बोल दो.
Ma'am, I'm audible, ma'am?
Yeah, you are audible.
Thank you, Seema ma'am, for you giving your valuable time.
Thank you, sir. So,
ma'am, please receive e-memento from our side.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, if anyone wants to write anything to me, if want to ask or something, they can write to me on my email ID, sgarg2@amity.edu. Thank you so much, sir. I'm honored and really privileged. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So, so participants, welcome all of you. So let us start session from our side. So I introduce our session chair. So today morning session has been chairing by Dr. Sumit Tiwari, Professor, Shiv Nadar University, Gautam Buddha Nagar. He has done PhD on energy from IIT Delhi. So I request to Tiwari sir, please proceed the session. Sir, please.
Good morning to all. So, in the present session, we have 6 papers. So, I would like to invite first participant related to comparative study on folded ferrocement and plain ferrocement panels subjected to axial loading. So, I would like to invite Venkata, Sai, Nagendra, and Chinthala. Please present your work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is request to all participants. Please on your video for recording purposes, and please let me know who is going to present.
Good afternoon, sir. This is
Good afternoon.
Venkatasai Nagendra.
Venkatasan. Okay.
Venkatasai Nagendra. I am from Bangalore University, Bangalore, Karnataka.
Okay.
Today I am going to discuss about my topic, that is comparative study on folded ferrocement and plain ferrocement panels subjected to axial load. Here, my background is completely civil engineering. Here, the folded ferrocement, it's nothing but it's one of the type of construction material which having cement, fine aggregate, and wire meshes. Fine aggregate means it's nothing but like a sand. That the combination will use the material called ferrocement. It's one of the type of construction material. Now, what we done in this research is nothing but we done a study for folded ferrocement and plain ferrocement panels when they subjected to axial loading, how they maybe the performance. It's like a performance evaluation. We done some performance evaluation.
In full screen mode.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is it okay, sir? Now, the purpose of research here. Just now I discussed like here we tried to evaluate the performance of plain and folded ferrocement panels under axial stress and to assess their load bearing capacity.
Sir, it's
Sir.
still not in full screen mode.
Sir, it is in full screen.
Yeah, it is in full screen, sir. I can see.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Here in this research, we both done like the study is for both experimental and analytical. Experimental means we casted the panels, and analytical we used the software like ETABS, which is nothing but extended 3-dimensional analysis of building systems. Both we done like ETABS and experimental. And at last we compare the results with the both and also with plain and folded ferrocement panels. Now this is our purpose of research here. This is about introduction of ferrocement. It's like a lightweight building materials. Nowadays research is going on, like so many water tanks they designed. Already water tanks are designed. Now we went for something, means a study like how they both will, maybe the stiffness of panels, like when it is folded, how the stiffness, and when it is plain, what were the stiffness value of the panels here when subjected to some axial loading. Axial loading means like a vertical load we are going to place. That vertical load we are going to test the values here. Now here the ferrocement composites of, I think here the second point which indicates like made of cement, sand, and single or multi layers of steel wire meshes to generate thin components which having excellent durability, resilience, and strength properties. Like suppose if you take this one also, one of the major advantage of ferrocement panels is nothing but lightweight structures, lightweight building structures. Like if you go for RCC means like a slab with a complete reinforcement, now columns, everything. This called RCC, means additional component, coarse aggregate will be included, and also reinforcing steel will be included. If you go with those type of materials, the self weight of the building may increases. If you go with this type of ferrocement materials, it will get lightweight, because the steel we are not going to use that much of weight. Here we are going to use some wire meshes. Previously I shown the picture also here. It's wire meshes we are going to use. With the help of wire meshes, we are trying to resist, maybe we are making that material to resist the tensile stresses. That's a major component of why we are adding that wire mesh. Now, this type of folded plate roofs are preferred by, I think here the point I mentioned, plate roofs are preferred by curved shell roofs. Now, for curved shell roofs, they majorly go with this type of ferrocement, maybe the wire mesh, reinforcing wire mesh they are going to prepare. Later on that this mesh they are going to keep. After that, cement mortar, they will lay the cement mortar. Like that, they are going to construct the curved shell roofs. And also the materials here. The next part, coming to the main project here. Materials, what are the materials we considered here is cement. It's about 43 grade. I can tell you maybe the grade of 43 means it's like a strength of the cement, 43 Newton per mm square. And that there are different types of grades, 33, 43, 53. 43 is preferable. Now the properties are like standard consistency, fineness, initial, final, and specific gravity. Consistency is nothing but it's like a water content required for a cement paste, means to prepare a perfect cement paste here, the amount of percentage of water, 32. Like fineness maybe the size of the particle, like that. Setting time, it's related to the plastic deformation or hardness material. These are the properties we have found out. And coming to fine aggregate, what is fine aggregate here? Fine aggregate is like in our civil engineering background, we can tell it as when the material size is less than 4.75 mm, we can call it as a fine aggregate. This fine aggregate, we consider here it as a river sand. Normal weight, this component is low